Hey everybody, this is Herschel Froome from High School Top 200, and this next preseason ranking is a New Plymouth Boys High School. Traditionally, these guys have been at the top of the game of winning within their history, and the tradition of the team is really is a really high standard. The last few years or so, they have always had really strong forward packs. They've always had really good structural players and technical players within their forward packs. Um, Even with last year, they had three rep players within the New Zealand secondary schools and the Barbarians, and so like these guys, um, they have that on their side. That they have the capacity and they have the player and talent and talent pool of players to bring out something special that will probably be one of the best in the country. They always have guys up there that will represent New Plymouth Boys High, and so for me, when I look at it, is that I always look to see who are the ones that stand out for them within the forward packs, and to pick out that guy who I think um, maybe could show out come rep time in September. This year's is probably a newer one for them because they had such an older team last year, and they built up for last year, which to me I think went really well, and they got some really good quality players out of it. So they're kind of um, back to the drawing board with a new coaching staff. They're back to the drawing board, and then they are back to seeing what they have, um, what they have over the next few years. I think they're in a good position. I think that I mean, for me, they have a guy like Eli Jordan, who I think is a really good lock, really tall, and he's a part of that lock group of players, if he comes back next year, that is going to be a really hard one to pick out because there's so much quality locks out there, and he's going to be one of those guys as well. He's going to go through all of his stuff this year and trying to pick out where he feels comfortable in being and his role on the field. Um, Michael Loft is probably another kid who is really worth mentioning, and he can play as a lock. I think I like him better as a blindside because he's really tall and uh, real thick kind of guy who plays up front and physical, and I think that would go a lot better on the blind side for me. And what I think, they've also got Paris Fa'apulo there, as well as Corrigan Miller, who I think he might be a number 8. Um, I remember seeing him at sevens. I think with sevens under 15s a few years ago, and he was pretty quick. He was pretty quick because he's quite a solid dude as well. So I think he was pretty quick. Even if he goes to open side and Paris goes to number 8, I could still see it working out. But I think if like you had Michael Corrigan and also Paris, um, I think that's a really worthwhile loose trio to look at and say, well, these guys have something and they're building towards something. And that might be the main control along with Eli, because they still got Connor White as a prop, who I think may be one of their better props that they have in the school this year. Um, but I think that they would probably rely on the older guys like Eli and Michael and having Paris in that there as well. Jack Hartley, I think, is probably going to be uh, the most sought after halfback there. I think he'll be the main one. Um, I'm picking Hanley Setu to probably be the number 10 that they pick because he's a young guy as well. I think he can also come back next year as well. think he might only be I think he might only be year 12 this year. I mean, his brother also plays Josh, and so he'll be in there in the mix as well. Um, I'm thinking the backline, because the backline is pretty fast. I mean, both Jamal Huppy, I think maybe at fullback. Jamal Ware would be on one wing, as well as India Huta as well is going to be on the other wing. And yeah, I think Jamal Ware is back. I think so. But if these three end up being in the back three, they are going to be way too fast for a lot of guys. A lot of teams will not be able to handle how much speed that these guys have. And so if both Jamals are back, as well as India, that's what I could see it being looked at as the back three, and that is just too much pace, and that's not good for a team that leaks in points at the back line, because if these three attack of broken down play, or if they attack of balls kicked down the field, and you have not set your defense properly, any one of those players will break your line, and they will take it to 50 meters and probably score on you. And so, like with that kind of, if you kicked it down, make sure your line is set. Everyone knows who they're going for. Make sure everybody points out who they're attacking, or who they're tackling, and who they are defending against, so that there is no mix-up. Because I'm telling you, like, you can't let these guys break the line. The worst thing is that these guys, I think, Malachi Falaniko is going to be, I would pick him to be maybe the second five, along with Zane. It depends where they want Zane Firth to play. If they want him at second five, or if they want him at centre, depending on what their, I guess, system is going to run. But I'm picking Malachi to probably be there as well. Zane is another guy that he attracts so much attention, and he's such a hard kid to bring down. And he'll take you on the inside and outside as well. He'll target the gap, draw in the defense, and just give a pass out. He is going to be so dangerous for you if you're going to try and defend him, and then he has these other three backs running off him, because that is just going to be something that's just going to be too hard to lock down, and Zane is going to be the creator of that kind of stuff. I will be pretty nervous if you don't have a good center that is defensively good, or a second five that has to mark up on Zane. You're going to really want your open side and your loose trio to be there to help you out, because he's gonna be a problem for you. Trust me, he's gonna be a problem for you. And then with that back three, if it's the way that I think that it is, with both Jamals and India there, it's gonna be a long day in the back line. All these three, both Jamals and India, they have phenomenal footwork. They can take you inside and out, and then cross you again, like that kind of stuff. And it's just hard for a defense. It's just hard for a team that doesn't play defense to start making tackles on guys that are just hard to tackle in general. Plymouth boys may take this year to build a little bit, to maybe get their system in place. It's going to be a good year for the backs, maybe not so much for the forwards, but they're always surprising in what they bring out, and they could go well. But have a look out for New Plymouth. Please support the boys. Get down to the gully and watch the boys on Saturdays if you're from the area, if that's your alma mater. New Plymouth boys, peace.